I would like to start with a little introduction about myself and how I got into all this and what my views are. So I will start with the Tantra, or sacred sexuality. The way I got introduced to Tantra is maybe, I would say, a little bit unusual. And it's certainly way out there for myself, at least. So the way it happened is that out of the blue, I have recalled a past life of mine where I was teaching natural law and about the correct use of energy. So in a very physical way. So this was long time before we introduced so much taboo around sexuality and around the body. So these were much more natural times, but still there were teachings that concerned itself with the natural law in a very authentic and very intuitive way. So maybe it's not even appropriate to use the word teachings, because it wasn't formulated yet. It was just dealing with what is beyond the concepts and ideas we have about the world. So it was very much concerning itself with the core of the mystery that we are experiencing here on Earth. When I had this vision, it was very clear to me that in this lifetime I should sort of pick up the thread and continue in a similar direction that would be appropriate for those times and where we are at as a society. And when I discovered or was introduced to the three principles, it was very clear to me that that was the missing sort of link that will help me to do this in a way that should be quite simple, that should enable me to keep it very simple. So maybe I shouldn't call my experience or knowledge Tantra at all, because I don't concern myself with the practices of what we know as Western Tantra or Neo-Tantra, or not even the ancient Indian Tantra. Like the way I went about this is that I really have followed what came from within me, and I would like the bottom line for me is what I know in my bones, what has resurfaced with this memory. And that's a wisdom that I can very much just feel to be present within myself, within who I am. And I don't feel that adding more teachings or approaches or learning more from other people would be of benefit. Like it's very clear to me that to keep it pure, to keep the knowledge pure as it comes from within me without any influence of external authorities, is something that I feel very few people are doing nowadays. That's why it's so scary for me. Even to speak about this like that. I think it's something that we as a culture really need to know, to learn, to rely on our inner authority first and foremost. And that's why I'm sort of doing this, and that's the direction I want to go in. So but I'm using the word Tantra because I like the word. Like nobody has the monopoly for it, so I call it Tantra. And the reason why the connection between Tantra and three principles, to me, it's the one thing, one and the same thing, really. Because both is dealing with the core principles, with the core natural laws of how it all works here. And it doesn't take anything away from the mystery. It just, when we know how it works, it just makes things much more easier for us and much more enjoyable. And it really allows us to unleash our inherent potential. So, what else would I say about this? The difference between the three Ps and maybe sacred sexuality is that it just works with the body much more. It gets much more physical, and it teaches those laws in a very embodied way, which to me is something very beautiful and much more interesting than just sitting and talking. Although it's very nice sometimes, but I don't think it exhausts the potential that there is. So, yeah, so for me, the combination really gives us the opportunity to explore the potential of us as humans. And that's why I want to create a workshop that would combine this. Now, it's very clear to me that this workshop won't have as much structure as usually workshops do, but it should remain very simple, and it should allow for individual expression. And I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve this. Like usually tantric workshops, the simpler ones, the ones that aren't very structured or organized, there would often be like some breath work and maybe some visualizations, and then people have orgasms. Or maybe some movement as well. And it's very simple, but what doesn't work for me, particularly for me, is that it's organized. It's now everybody's going to breathe like this for this long, you know, and for me, like breathing for an hour just to have an orgasm, like that's a bit like too much work and a bit crazy. So I just don't do this. It's a very different experience when it arises from within at the time that is right, and it happens naturally and spontaneously. That's a very different experience, and that's what I'm interested in, and to create spaces that would allow for this. Unlike having an organized workshop where there's 20 or 50 people and now everybody is going to breathe like this and visualize this, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not feeling like it right now, you know, or it just doesn't allow for the individuality to come true in my experience. So, and I haven't found spaces that would enable this. So that's why I want to create it like for myself, and I guess there must be other people who would be interested in something like this. So yeah, that's why I'm exploring it.